reconvene the March 4th Parker Town Council meeting at 7:14 p.m. All council members are present with the exception of Councilwoman Debbie Lewis. I do have a favor to ask. Anyone under the age of 18 in the audience, it is your time to come on down front. Come on down. Come on down. Tori, you sure you don't want to come down? Because I know you've got to be under 18. Seriously, are you sure? Buying a house? You can't buy a house when you're 14. Come on. All right. All of you under 18, come on down. So we have you guys have a very important job to do right now. It is the most important thing of the evening. And that is honor our nation with the Pledge of Allegiance. So what's going to happen is, don't worry, you don't have to be nervous. It's all good. All these people behind you are smiling right now at you. They all are very proud of you. What's going to happen is we're going to turn around and face the flag. You guys are going to put your hands on your heart, and we're all going to get quiet. And we're going to wait to hear you start the Pledge of Allegiance. And when you start it, everybody will join in. Sound like a deal? We're good to go. And I'm giving you permission. Use your outside voices. Good? Especially you, right? No quiet voice, okay? All right, the floor is yours. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Fantastic job. Way to go. See, these young men were being gentlemen and letting her go first. So, fantastic job. All right. All right. So now that we've got that, we're going to move on to special presentations. And I have a couple of them to go. First off, before I head down there, Council, if you would indulge me, I'm going to kind of read a little bit. Those of you in the audience, maybe some of you know, or maybe some of you don't know, that in all of Colorado, there are only 2 medical schools. Places that make doctors, right? Only 2. One of them is University of Colorado. Second one is Rocky Vista University in Parker, Colorado. An incredible facility that we have here. I've had the pleasure of touring this facility probably enough times that I could give the tour if you guys asked me to come down and do it. State of the art, one of the most amazing places to be. Especially if you go to the library. As someone who remembers college when I was a kid, and when some of you guys were kids, you walked in the library and it's huge stacks of books. You walk into this library and there's like one little bookshelf in the middle of the room because everything is done electronically. Just in case your computer blows up, they've got a hard copy book that you can go use, right? But they've got robots that have babies, that give birth. They've got all this cool stuff there, and their job is to train world-class doctors in Parker, Colorado. If I'm not mistaken, you graduate the same number of doctors that the University of Colorado does as well. So, let me tell you guys a little bit of something special about Rocky Vista University that they've done. They have participated in this active shooter training. How many years have you guys done that? 2 years. So this is the second. So I remember the first one scared the bejeebus out of me because I got to participate in that one. So for 9 days, Rocky Vista University volunteers approximately $200,000 worth of military training, surgical cut suits, 3 students, 3 physicians, and support staff to partner in a significant undertaking of an active shooter drill in conjunction with 4 hospitals, 4 churches, 11 law enforcement agencies, Douglas County and Parker PD, South Metro Fire, close to 1,000 hospital staff, first responders, law enforcement, dispatchers, and church staff were trained over the course of 9 days. Rocky Vista University went above and beyond any reasonable expectation of goodwill as a community neighbor because of the belief and shared value of the importance of bringing this cutting-edge training to our local responders community to prepare for the worst. This event is absolutely amazing. The cut suits that these actors wear are actual suits that when they come in, the surgeons can cut open and they have organs and fluid and stuff in there so they can train on a live actor without hurting the live actor. And then when they're done, they can strip the skin off of it, put a new skin on, and do it again. So cutting edge training happening right here in Parker, Colorado, specifically with our first responders and law enforcement agencies. So God forbid we have an active shooter situation, we can be well prepared. So tonight, I've got some certificates that I'd like to give for recognition. If we've got Dr. Clint Adams, Dr. Thomas Toll, and Dr. Anthony Laporta, could you please come on down for me? So I'm going to read this certificate here, and then I'm going to hand these off. In recognition of your contributions to the safety of our community through the sharing of resources from Rocky Vista University, your commitment to emergency preparedness, and to your dedication, I have these certificates of recognition from me, Mike Wade, the mayor of the town of Parker, for Dr. Laporta, Dr. Adams, and Dr. Toll. Here we go, guys. I'll let you hold these out. We are absolutely blessed to have you as partners here in the town of Parker. Happy to be here. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. And if you haven't been down to Rocky Vista University to see what they've got going on there, you really, truly should. It is an amazing facility. All right, and then next up here, we've got another special presentation. We have the swearing in of our newly trained judges for teen court. Now, I'm going to hand this over to our real judge, not like a teen judge, but he's almost a teen. What, like 28, 29 years old, Judge? All right, Judge, why don't you come on down and you can lead the show. Hopefully no one in the room has ever met Judge Seidel before, because if you haven't met him, then that means you haven't had a speeding ticket or anything in the town of Parker yet, right? So, Judge.
Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. Appreciate town council. We are eager to share with you tonight the swearing in of 3 of our new teen court judges. And I'm going to turn it over to Carolyn Sheridan, who's our teen court coordinator, who will introduce them so that I can then perform to you.
Wonderful.
So can I have Whitney Hummocky, Eric Fitchner, and Evan Fitchner?
And they do a good job of the Pledge of Allegiance to the case order.
So real quick, I'm supposed to share with y'all training hours that they've completed with me, which is about 30 hours with just me. That doesn't include on-the-job training that they come when they do the panels and their trials. And it does not include what they do at their house when they're prepping for their child. So they completed general legal training, they've gone to law school, and now they're and that's all.
So this is 3 of our young people who will now be able to preside over teen court proceedings. As Carolyn mentioned, 3 levels of training to get to this point. Many hours of dedication, and also the volunteer work that the teen court does, and we are proud to share them with you tonight. So we'll go ahead and swear in these 3 new judges. If you each raise your right hand, please. Repeat after me. I solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Colorado, and I will impartially and without bias serve as a judge in the Parker Teen Court.
So, Judge, before you step away, can you maybe fill us in a little bit about teen court and the validity of what they do?
Yes.
Actually, would you mind going and doing it at the microphone so the people at home could hear you too? I know how much you love to be on the microphone.
Judge.
Thank you. So yes, teen court is a deferred prosecution program for kids between 12 and 17 with first-time low-level misdemeanor crimes. They come through my court either to as a panel member, so the younger kids do panels, the older kids do trials, which these guys have served as attorneys for our trials, and now they're going to serve as judges for our trials.
Excellent.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you very much. Excellent. All right, next item on our agenda is our Parker Chamber of Commerce updates. Mr. Houston.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Wanted to share a few exciting things from the Parker Chamber of Commerce and the business community. First of all, with Parker Days coming up this June 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th of 2019, As many of you know, we started a new process this year with Parker Days, more of a collaborative process. Started from a conversation long ago between Michelle Kivel and myself, and it's been a very collaborative process as we work through the last couple months. I'd like to thank Michelle for helping me lay the groundwork on the front end of what this process would look like, and also would like to thank Brooke and Ann, who have been instrumental in what this looked like. But what we've done is spend one-on-one time with each of the different departments in the town. We've met with police, Parks and Rec, Public Works, clerk, customer service, legal, public safety, and marketing and events in small group sessions, in some cases multiple sessions. We've done a series of walkthroughs of the Parker Days grounds with some of those departments looking at what that might look like. The intent behind this is to look at how can we make it a smoother process, not just for the town of Parker, for the citizens. How does it impact the budget financially, and also how does it impact labor in different areas. Pleased to say that we've already had 4 pretty amazing successes along the way in this collaborative process. We established a way to lower some labor costs in the O'Brien Park area as part of this process. We changed some timing for when we set up for Parker Days. That's going to allow the pool to be open longer hours and serve the citizens, especially the kids, on a warm summer day. Also had a chance to spend some time with the people from the Cultural Arts Department at the Pace Center, and able to restructure when we set up the carnival. So the Pace Center will be able to be open longer hours and serve more citizens in the process. And don't cry about this next one, but as we looked at where some of the demand and stress is as far as public safety, sometimes it's related to where the alcohol is at Parker Days, and so we did eliminate one beer garden at Parker Days. It's a new one that we started last year, so the main areas will continue to move forward as we have in the past. But we're pleased how the process has worked, and appreciate everyone at Town Hall that's been collaborating with us in that process. Wine walks are underway for 2019 already. Paperwork was submitted in the last couple days, so that will kick off May 17th. That first one's a little earlier because of the Memorial Day weekend. Another event coming up actually this week, this Wednesday morning, we'd invite anyone to join us who would like to. It's the Parker Chamber will be co-hosting Business Day at the Capitol as part of our Douglas County Business Alliance. And we'll be spending Wednesday morning at the Capitol with a lot of the leadership at the state capitol talking about business and community issues that affect the citizens of Parker and those in Douglas County as well. And last but not least, a couple years ago, in July of 2017, we started a conversation with Douglas County School District about the need for a career academy or a career and technical education facility in Douglas County, and especially in northern Douglas County in the Parker area. And the reason for that, the start of that conversation, is the number one challenge we hear from the business community is workforce, and that challenge and need of finding workers to fill those jobs that are in the Parker area and along the whole northern Douglas County region. What we proposed at that time is a career academy that would help fill that need. Because when we look at the students that are currently in Douglas County schools, if you look at the students who are currently in K through 12, 20,000 of those students don't have plans following high school graduation once they cross that graduation stage. And another 20,000 students within a year or two of graduation will be looking at a change in their life, perhaps not completing a college degree at that point. So we have a pipeline there of 40,000 future workers, and a career and technical education center like this will help us fill some of those needs we have for future workforce. Last Tuesday was a big day in this process. Douglas County School District Board of Education unanimously approved to move forward in this process to look at establishing this facility in Parker. And later this month, officials from Douglas County School District and some of us from the chamber will be spending some time with you folks to give you an update and more details. And at that time, I'd like to answer any questions you may have.
Wonderful. Dennis, thank you very much. Council, do you have any questions for Dennis?
No, well done, and congratulations on that. I read that and was just so proud and so happy the hard work paid off. And on a personal note, thank you and congratulations to Mr. Jack Houston. It's outstanding.
Very good. Thank you. Thanks,
right.
everyone.
Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is our Downtown Business Alliance updates. Mrs. Mango. You notice I didn't say anything to embarrass you this time?
You save it every other time?
Save it, yeah,
There you go.
on the other months.
Thank you, Mayor Mike and Town Council. First, I want to thank you all sitting right there for supporting all the downtown businesses. You support small businesses. We appreciate that. Your recognition is to what we do is so important to us. So wanted to start with that. And I have a few people from my board I'd like to introduce tonight that are in the audience. This doesn't happen all the time. Hopefully you're going to see more of our board attending our town council meetings. But first we have Todd Hendricks, who serves on our Downtown Business Alliance board. Thank you.
Who?
It's Todd Hendricks.
Who? Could you spell that, please?
Jeff Sams, thank you for
Hey,
coming
Jeff.
tonight. Carrie Glassburn,
Who?
thank you for coming tonight as well. We have several other board members that could not be here this evening, but we have made a decision as a group that we're going to try to represent our Downtown Business Alliance and have all of our board members come as much as we can. So, update on our membership. We are over 50 businesses right now and growing, so it's exciting to see what's happening, the involvement that the businesses would like to have with each other and the collaboration. So we're excited for 2019 to even grow that membership even bigger. Our board is meeting this Thursday, for strategic planning, goal setting, and budget assignments for all of our committees. So we have some work to do this week. Our art walk is planning right now, is ramping up, and it will start in June and run through September. Not necessarily on First Fridays. We have Parker Days and 4th of July that conflict as First Fridays. So we're calling it the Friday Art Walk. More to follow, but it'll start running in June through September. We are filling out an application to adopt Pikes Peak Avenue for the Adopt-A-Street. So our Downtown Business Alliance will be out there with our, what do you have to wear, orange or yellow or something like that, at least once a month. So Josh, I'll see you there, right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
we'll be starting to clean the Pikes Peak Avenue as soon as we get that application in. Our Government Action Committee met to further discuss options for transportation throughout downtown Parker. Each member is looking into different aspects so we can weigh our options, whether it's partnering with local companies that already have shuttles, if it's maybe looking at pricing out oversized golf carts, or even shuttle buses as well. So we're looking, that committee is diving deeper into that, and we'll hopefully have some information as we progress in the next few months. Our next Downtown Business Alliance membership meeting will be next week from Wednesday, second Wednesday of every month from 9 to 10:15, second floor of the Parker Library. If anybody knows of a business or an office that's located in downtown Parker, please encourage them to come to at least one or two meetings before they decide if they would like to be a member of this fabulous group. So any questions for the DBA?
Council, questions for Shelley? No? Thank you very much. Keep
Okay.
up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley.
Excellent.
Thank you, board.
All right, next item up on our agenda is public comment. This is the time for general public comment. If you're here for an item that's on our agenda, there will be public comment for those specific items. So this is for general public comment on items not on our agenda. No action will be taken on these items at this time. It's just an opportunity for you to address council. You'll notice above me, there's a little clock that says 3 minutes, and I've got one on the back wall over there. Procedure is you'll come up, state your name and address for the record, then that clock starts. When it gets to 0, I'm going to say thank you very much and invite the next person up, even if you're still in the middle of your presentation, just to respect everyone else's 3 minutes that they have. Now, before we get into that, I do want to read a statement because I have a sinking suspicion that there's a couple people here in reference to Councilwoman Debbie Lewis. So, a couple things here. First off, for those, just as a recount, in case people have been asleep, Parker police officers responded to a call of indecent exposure in the alley behind 19420 East Main Street, Wednesday, December 12th, around 7:15 p.m. When officers arrived on scene, they learned that the parties involved were Council member Debbie Lewis and Doug Dahlstrom. Officers conducted an interview with the witness, Councilmember Lewis and Mr. Dahlstrom. It was the determination of our officers on scene that no crime had been committed and they were not cited. As is appropriate when a town official is involved, the investigation was turned over to an outside third-party agency the next morning. In this case, the 18th Judicial District Attorney's Office. This is done to protect the integrity of the investigation and for the protection of the responding officers and the suspects. The Office of the District Attorney of the 18th Judicial District conducted the investigation into the incident and sent Parker Police Chief King the results of their finding in letters dated January 24th, 2019 and February 19th, 2019. The District Attorney's Office determined that criminal charges are not appropriate in this case. The Parker Town Council does not condone the poor judgment of Council Member Lewis in this matter, including her repeated contacts with Chief of Police and the Deputy Chief of Police. Parker Town Council will evaluate what options are available to address the lack of judgment exercised by Council Member Lewis in her capacity as a council member. Parker Town Council appreciates the proper handling of this matter by the Parker Police Department and the District Attorney's Office. In our exec session before this meeting is when legal counsel advised town council on options. Specifically, Section 2.9A of the Parker Home Rule Charter addresses vacancies in office. Pursuant to that provision, with respect to criminal matters or misconduct, the only allowable reason for an elected official to be removed is when the criminal act, which constitutes misconduct in office or a felony, results in conviction by a court of law. Because the district attorney has determined that no charges will be filed, there will not be any conviction that would mandate or even allow removal from office. In non-legal terms, what that means is not a single member of town council, nor myself, have any legal authority to remove any member elected by the population. That power squarely lies on the shoulders of our citizens. Okay, so with that, we will open it up for public comment at 7:37 p.m. if there's anyone wishing to address council. Come on down. You don't have to raise your hand. The only question I ask is if there's a lady in front of you, you let her go first. Name and address for the record, please. I saw her get up at the same time as you, so I was going to.
Hey, guys, I'm Charlie Caudill, and I live on Somerset Court in Town and Country, and I know most of you because I've seen all of you, and I hate about what I'm going to say because it sucks. And because I know Debbie, I've met her, I like her, she's a sweetheart, but she messed up. And the way I see it and my friends, it's not what she did, it's what she did after the fact, calling the police department, calling the police chief and all of that. That sucks. And it's really bad because she really is nice. And I mean, I'm not sitting here like trying to screw her at all, but she's not here. And again, you guys all are, and you have to face all of this. My whole thing is abuse of power. What she did in that parking lot with that guy, I could care less. What I care about is when she's on the phone calling on her private number, the police chief of Parker and his assistant, get these cops out of here. And I hate that. That's abuse of power. You guys should have addressed it a lot better than you have. I still love every one of you guys, by the way. And I just hope she gets better. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up. Name and address for the record, please.
Sean Morrissey, 11020 South Pikes Peak Drive. Just wanted to bring up two issues, parking related, for downtown Parker. I have 20 employees that I employ that come to work each day, which we have to use the public lots. The schoolhouse parking lot, it does appear that there are about 20 cars that do not move every day. Since the apartments have been built, which I know that was a big topic. If you go over there, they're caked in ice, they haven't been moved. I've called several cars that, one gold car has been there for 6 months. Parker Police says, yes, we see it. Doesn't appear that there's any town rules on inoperable or abandoned cars, so I asked that town council check with staff, maybe follow up with me. You guys know how to get a hold of me. The other thing is the 2-hour parking. That is abused every day. If we're not gonna enforce it, let's get rid of it. I shouldn't have to call Parker PD every day when cars are out there. And again, they're from the apartments, unfortunately. Being that you guys know where I work, or most of you know where I work, so you can see that I see it all the time. If you could look into that, I'd appreciate it, because it just appears my calls to staff and police department aren't solving the issue.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you, Sean. All right, next up. Name and address for the record, please.
Joy Overbeck, 19692 East Man Creek Drive in Parker, 80134. I'd just like to say that Debbie Lewis has disgraced the town of Parker. The confidence and integrity that we should have in the integrity and the character of our elected representatives, she has violated egregiously. We know that she did this once before, a few years ago, when she told everybody that she didn't have any conflict of interest with Mike Mays or his company when he was proposing a boutique hotel here in Parker. It turned out that Mike Mays' wife was indeed her person of record on her campaign and was listed as a registered agent in both her 2012 and 2016 elections. That the May family and or the company and family and Mike May gave about $2,000 to both of her elections in total. And so she didn't tell us the truth about that. And now she's not telling us the truth about this. I don't think she's somebody who can continue to represent us. And I would like to know, I don't know why she isn't here tonight. I can guess why she isn't here tonight, to tell you the truth. A lot of us thought that she would be resigning tonight just out of the honor of the office that she had so violated. I'd like to know if Mr. Dahlberg, who apparently she was having this encounter with, if he has any business with the town of Parker, because we have conflict of interest problems with Debbie Lewis before now. I'd like to know if he is being considered for any, apparently he has a construction company called Ponderosa Construction or Ponderosa Development. And I'd like to know from the council members or whoever might know this, if he's got any applications in for any redevelopment of any of the Parker development parcels, or if he's had past dealings with the town of Parker in the area of construction or development or putting in bids for any jobs. That's something I think we should all know, that we're all entitled to know. And I am calling for the resignation of Debbie Lewis. I don't think she represents us well, and I think she's made Parker a laughing stock. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up. Name and address for the record, please.
I'm Rita Young, 16474 Creekview Drive, Parker, 80134. This, too, is concerning Councilwoman Lewis. I would like to address her actions on December 12th. I have to call into question both her past judgment and action she took with the police. This matter cannot be closed because it negatively affects the credibility of her colleagues on the council. Constituents will ask, what kind of privilege do members assume? This begs the question as to whether there are real privileges, such as directing the police, that council members can take advantage of, and this is not acceptable. My suggestion for Councilwoman Lewis is to resign and move on because her poor judgment for letting this incident occur in the first place will spill over and permeate all council responsibilities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rita. Next up. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Evelyn Zur, and I live at 5915 Ponderosa.
Evelyn,
Park.
your last name one more time?
Zur.
Zur. Thank you.
Z-U-R. And that's Parker 80134. I came just basically to ask Debbie to resign, or to ask her to resign. She has shown poor judgment and poor character, and quite frankly, I think she's forfeited her authority on the council, and we really don't appreciate someone that has shown her character representing us here in Parker. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next up. Name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of council. My name is Stephen Curtis. My address is 22104 East Idlewild Drive. I come this evening to talk to you about the potential maybe of a partnership. As some of you may know, I've appeared before council before regarding the red light that was installed at Idlewild and Canterbury. And while first and foremost, I've worked with Chris Hudson since that light's gone in, who has gone above and beyond really everything that anyone could expect from the town to mitigate some of my concerns. We're not 100% there yet in getting those mitigated, but he's been fantastic. I'm sure there's a whole staff of folks behind him that I've never met, but certainly my, first and foremost, I would like to express my deep gratitude for that. Secondly, as we headed down this road, I looked and expected to find somewhere a standard that dictated what a red light might look like when it's installed, especially in a neighborhood. And I've been unable to find one. And so my hope this evening is to come before council and ask council to consider that traffic engineering and public works establish a standard for what a red light might look like, what those lights might look like, what the cast shadow from those lights might look like, and publish that as a standard so that folks such as myself who will be affected by that have some place to go and look at and understand what that means. As I appeared before council, obviously I had concerns that I had. Most of them surrounded the light pollution that would enter my lot. To stand here and debate whether the light is needed or unneeded is irrelevant at this point. But I expected to find a standard, and there's not one. And so I come before you to ask you to do that. Of course, with every problem should come at least somewhat of a solution offering. So I'll offer my experience and my time to help Public Works and traffic engineering with what we've gone through, what we've looked at for mitigation, and what's been done to this point. I'm happy to share those experiences with them and help them any place they might need so that we can get a standard in place. So finally, again, and I know I've said it a number of times, but I really can't say it enough, town staff and Chris have been fantastic to work with, and I look forward to continuing to work with them until we get it to full resolution. But in the meantime, I would ask council to consider that standard.
Yeah.
So
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve.
All right. Next up. Okay. All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public comment at 7:48 p.m. and go on to the next item, which is reports, items, and comments from mayor and council. Josh.
Let's see, not much since last week. I did go down to Castle Rock. They are going through the home rule process. As citizens of Parker know, we are a home rule municipality, which means we govern ourselves as opposed to a statutory community, which follows state law. Castle Pines is going through the process to establish a home rule charter. They created a commission, and that commission has recommended to the council that they follow through with a May vote to become a home rule municipality by the citizens of Castle Pines. And I can't emphasize enough, if you have a friend in Castle Pines, have them reach out, and I can definitely speak to the benefits of home rule versus statutory. That's all I got.
Thank you very much, Josh. Cheryl?
Yeah, I want to go back to the CML conference since I wasn't here last week.
Good job.
It's done?
No, don't, please do, I forgot.
Okay, so what I'd like to do is say that it was an outstanding conference. I really enjoyed listening to the different participants. One of the things that I came away with was the discussion on transportation issues. And there are a number of entities out there that are external to Denver city limits who are not happy with RTD service and the amount that they're paying, and other areas that have come up with regionalized concepts to handle localized transportation issues. It's something we may have to look at in the future, and it's nice to know that there's other communities out there who have already gone through that process.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. Mr. Toborg?
Let's see, I attended.
Before you go, I think we need to start a chart, though, because I've had my last name butchered probably 5 or 6 times since I've been in office, and I think I've heard your last name butchered more times.
Oh, yeah.
So Troborg, Trumborg, or?
Troborg was from Todd Henry.
Okay, that's a little different. So, go ahead.
All right. I this past week attended the Chamber's Board of Directors meeting. We had a good chat about some upcoming town items that are going to benefit the Chamber and businesses around town. And of course, got my weekly update on Parker Days. So, sounds like everything's going really well there. And Dennis, I'm sorry I couldn't get out last week to be down in Castle Rock with you at the Board of Education meeting, but congratulations on that. It's huge. Let's see, Recreation Liaison meeting, we had that today. Some really exciting things happening in recreation, especially around O'Brien Pool, but I won't just use that as a teaser. I had, Charlie left, but last week I also had the opportunity to visit Town and Country HOA and speak with their board, and also attended the State of the Town, which should not be held where all those cars are, because that's really distracting.
That's true.
But excellent job, sir, on that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Renee?
So I also attended the State of the Town along with John Dyack and Josh Rivero. It was held at Vehicle Vault. If you haven't been there, I strongly recommend going there. It was presented by the Rotary. The main speaker was our own mayor, Mike Wade, who did a phenomenal job and has put out the 2019 challenge. It was catered by Sweet Lorraine's, and just an excellent message. And then today I also had my one-on-one with the town administrator's office. That's it.
Mr. Dyack.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. A couple things. Denver Regional Council of Governments, I'm Parker's board member. On the 20th, we had our Community Development Director, John Fusa, give an update on Parker and what's happening. So kudos and thank you to Mr. Fusa. I was also elected vice chair of the organization, so that starts, I think, the 6th of March. I'll be like Mr. Mayor here, overseeing some of the discussions. We also had the Investment Advisory Committee meeting every quarter. We have 2 citizens that were appointed, oversee the town's investments per our policy. We have a financial advisor, so we have a couple of great financial industry veterans who help us ensure and comply that our policy is being met. And Councilmember Rivera and myself met with Engineering and Public Works, our monthly liaison meeting. We talked about the upcoming E470 IGA, which is on the agenda tonight. We also talked about the potential of getting some federal money directed towards the town of Parker to improve our roads. So that should be forthcoming here in the future. Mr. Mayor?
All right, thank you very much. And so for me, I have, yes, the State of the Town address this last Wednesday was at Vehicle Vault. It's a great opportunity to get together to give everyone a snapshot of what has been going on in the town of Parker for the year before. It's a great opportunity to show actual, true, real numbers. of what we've had going on. The one that I always kind of refer to, and I made a point in there, is I always love when people stop me and say, what's going on with the explosive, out of control growth in the town of Parker, and I ask them to qualify what that means. And I usually ask, well, how many apartment units do you think were built in the town of Parker in 2018? And, I've had numbers from 5,000 apartment units to 25,000 apartment units. I've asked the same question about homes, and I've had numbers from 5,000 homes to 10,000 homes. When the reality is that we had a little over 400 individual apartment units built in the town of Parker last year, and about 380 or so homes built. So it's a good opportunity to give some of the facts and figures to the town, but it is the time where I like to take a theme and talk about it. And this year's theme was telling stories about Parker. I told a few stories about my history in Parker, about others' experiences in Parker, and really encouraging all of us, our citizens, and this is the 2019 Mayor's Challenge, to not only share your stories about Parker, but also spend time creating new stories about what makes Parker so unique and so special. The one that I shared about me was how 20 years ago when I first moved to Parker and ventured down, we lived in Cottonwood, ventured down past 470. It happened to be Parker Days weekend that weekend. It was the first time I'd ever been down to Main Street. And I remember telling my wife that, wow, this was cool. It has such a great small hometown feel. And I related then about 10 years ago when I was at an event here in town, an Oktoberfest, and I ran into a new couple who just moved to Parker. And I said, what do you like most about Parker? And they said, I love the small hometown feel of Parker. And I said, well, 10 years later, it still has that. Well, this last year, I asked that same question to a new couple I met that had moved here, new family. And their answer, believe it or not, was the small hometown feel. So the fact that 20 years later that can be maintained is not because of the incredible roads that we have, the beautiful facilities that we have, the great parks, the great recreation, the great arts and culture. What makes that unique is you guys, is the people who call Parker home, how you love Parker, how you create those memories. I've been to communities twice the size of Parker that have more hometown feel than we do. I've been to communities half the size of Parker who don't feel as homey as we do. It's not about the number, it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. And State of the Town this year addressed the fact that we have the best quality citizens around. So that's what this last week was about for me. So we'll go ahead and move on now to the next item, which is our consent agenda. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine and will be enacted with one motion and one vote. Council, in front of you, you've got consent agenda items 7A through 7I. I would entertain discussion or a motion, please.
I move to approve. Oops.
Got to have that microphone on.
I move to approve consent agenda items 7A through 7I.
Second.
We have a motion from Josh and a second from Renee. Council, this is the time where I get to sing to you while you wait for that little box to pop up on your computer. When that little box comes up, you're going to click your choice, yes or no. Save that choice. And in just a few moments, through the magic of technology, we're going to have an answer right above my head here in just a moment. Everyone's looking there it is, and motion passes unanimously. Excellent. Next item up on our agenda is item 8A. This is a public hearing for resolution number 19-009. This item was originally continued from February 4th, 2019 to tonight. The applicant has requested that this item be continued again to a date certain of March 18th so they can finish preparing what they need for it. So council, I would need a motion to continue item 8, which is resolution number 19-009 to a date certain of March 18th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Josh and a second from Renee.
Oops.
And we went kind of fast. I tried to stretch that, Chris, as much as I could. I'm sorry, I talked slow, but that's slow for me is still Mach 12. So she's going to get that updated here while we all watch the screen above my head.
We should say vote to continue. It says it is continued. What we're voting on doesn't say to continue to a date certain of 18.
It's the item that's on, it's the agenda title and not the actual motion.
Should we take a
So we'll just do a voice vote on this one then, so since it doesn't match up with that. So I would entertain a motion to continue to a date certain of March 18th.
So
Oh,
moved.
that's already been, excuse me, that was already moved by Josh, second by Renee. Josh?
Yes.
Cheryl?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Renee?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. Next item up is item number 9. This is for ordinances. This is for ordinance number 9.285 on second reading. This is a bill for an ordinance to approve the intergovernmental agreement between the E-470 Public Highway Authority and the Town of Parker regarding the maintenance of overlapping facilities. Mr. Hudson, you are going to be our leader tonight, wearing a crisp white shirt and nice gray tie.
For the radio folk.
For the radio, yeah. For those of you listening online who can't see Mr. Hudson right now.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for that introduction, Mayor. To give you a little background on this IGA that the mayor introduced, in 2017, the town was contacted by E-470 regarding guardrail damage at the Chambers Road interchange. That contact started some dialogue with E-470 staff about this interchange. And previous IGAs were actually entered into between Douglas County and E-470 constructing this interchange. Where it gets confusing on this whole thing is later on the town came in and annexed it. So there was nothing in these original IGAs that had to do with maintenance. For years, we'd had numerous handshake agreements with E-470, and this dialogue continued as we worked through this, and we decided that we needed to do a comprehensive IGA instead of a series of handshakes and gentleman agreements. And with staff turnover, we all felt that it'd be best to get this written down. So this document you have tonight is a culmination over a year of dialogue between us and E-470. Through a collaborative exchange, we assembled this list. And when I talk about overlapping facilities, we'll talk a little bit more detail, but we have roads, for example, these interchanges that are on E-470, the on and off ramps. Where does Parker end and where does E-470 start? We've done some previous IGAs with E-470 regarding signal maintenance and the Cherry Creek Trail maintenance, but this IGA really gets into a lot of details. We have them all listed up there: storm drainage, roadways, bridges, lighting, traffic signals, signage, pavement markings, landscaping, trails, and snow and ice control. That's just to name a few of the items that we got into this. This comprehensive list, what we did is we actually, then our GIS department here at the town assembled some maps, pictures worth 1,000 words to help reinforce what's there. The listing is more comprehensive than the map, but the maps are very helpful. And we do anticipate this IGA, while it be comprehensive, will have to be amended in time. There's development going on the corridor, additional potential annexations that are going to happen, so there'll have to be an evolution in this document. And as this collaborative effort, we identified 8 different areas along the corridor that needed to be documented. And these are the 8 areas. Rather than going into detail on all 8, I'm going to pick the 4th one, which is the Jordan Road E-470 interchange. This is a map of the 8 areas, kind of as graphical. This is actually in the IGA, so somebody can take this document. It's a great reference document and know exactly and quickly go to what they need to see for drawings and locations. This is an excerpt right out of the IGA. I apologize, it's a little difficult to read, but it details every item on the Jordan Road interchange the town does. And then the second page, it goes into what E-470 is responsible for. One of those items, I'm going to just pick on one of those items, has to do with the landscaping at E-470 and Jordan Road that has been there since the day they built Jordan and E-470 back in the early 90s. Nowhere do we ever have anything documented who's responsible for this landscaping. This landscaping partially encroaches on town right-of-way. So this is a graphical representation where we actually identified those landscaping areas, and they're highlighted in the little green bubbles that are there. But this is, again, this is additional, it's an attachment to the listing that gives details on each of the locations. Some of the details in the IGA, each entity will maintain per their standards. It defines and documents who is doing what. We've had a series of staff turnover in the last, I've been with the town almost 19 years now, and I've worked with 3 different people at E470 when it has to do with maintenance. This is documenting it so somebody in the future can pick this thing up and understands what our commitments are to do this. This is both a benefit for the town and E470 to get this in place. And again, it's a great future reference document. And this thing really provides a lot of clarity at the Chambers Road structure, ownership, and maintenance. Those IGAs with Douglas County never address this. Chambers is a unique situation that Chambers, the road itself, is elevated above E470, and you could make the argument that that structure is needed to support the town's road traffic. And the other good thing about this IGA, it also identifies who's going to be maintaining the storm drainage under E470. There's multiple crossings where these drainage structures take our storm drainage across E470 from, typically, it's from the south side to the north. And an ordinance is needed to approve this IGA. This item has actually been scheduled to go to E470's board on March 14th. And with that, I'll answer any questions you might have.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. Council, questions? John?
Yeah, just a statement. I serve as the Parker board member on E470. Talking to Executive Director Tim Stewart, who's been there for about, I think, 2 or 3 years. He's starting to go through all of these things, which, quite honestly, are not institutional knowledge. They're buried in documents somewhere, or someone knows of something. So Director Stewart has made an effort to try and memorialize these types of agreements. And in talking to him, he said this was sort of the first comprehensive document of any voting member, and he hopes to use this as sort of a template for future discussions to truly understand whose responsibility is what. So good job to Chris and his department. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Other questions?
No, I too would like to thank you, Chris. I know this kind of thing takes a lot of work, but you're right, it needs to be written down.
Yeah. Josh?
Yeah, again, comprehensive is a good word. I appreciate our staff's work, and I appreciate E470's cooperation in getting this done. As we know, some development back in the day can be wild, wild west, and it was a handshake. And I appreciate getting it on paper for the future generations. Thank you, Chris.
Okay. We'll go ahead and open it up for public comment at 8:06 p.m. if there's anyone from the audience wishing to address council on this item. Seeing no movement at all, we'll go ahead and close public comment at 8:06 p.m. and I'll entertain further discussion or a motion, please.
I move to approve ordinance number 9.285 on second reading.
Second.
Motion by Renee and a second by Josh. Council, in just a few moments, your little box will appear and you will clicky clicky. Motion passes unanimously. With no further business before council, we will adjourn at 8:06 p.m. Drive safe, everybody.